tried to.
No, I see. Safer that way, no traffic, it's weather. Yesterday was.
Well, Baltimore northeast.
Well, I
didn't get a job at
it was boring, and then I got into the York, Pennsylvania. It was clear, blue skies, and then once I crossed the Maryland line, it was kind of black and ominous, and then further south I got, the worse got, then it was so different. I felt like I was I had my clothes on. You know, when you're on the interstate highway, everybody's trying to get rid of gun, rush hour.
I went from my archery
That's why I traffic for that, yeah.
So I moved into a condo. But I sold it.
I was just happy I had
17 months.
20 square feet roof on my store. And in essence, it literally popped up. It's like, well, it's really lit up.
The weather gods even said again. Yeah, sort of.
Okay, all right, yeah. So he'll be there. His
We actually moved to Milton.
Fingers crossed.
I worked for my dad. He so my dad retired. I took it time. Trying to turn that back. He's got a lot of silver hair.
Yes, it's just over in Hartford Ferry.
So that's right. It was I only got a couple months left to deal with Jim. I don't like to do it fast. He knows what he's talking I took him up on the aquarium, the national aquarium down here last year because huge glass domes were leaking like crazy up the top of the rainforest. Years ago, right? But the other one started leaking. They, I took him up there. He had a bad back. He couldn't even go up there to look at it. Talk about it.
Record and never stop. Got it? We'll edit later. You can record me now. Just keep recording. Take a sip. I need the water.
Hey, boss. I'm sorry. Were you okay. I didn't know if maybe they were shade with
But speaking of Mark, I wouldn't know what to touch. This is too much.
And everybody ready to let Cisco up there, talk to you guys over that fire escape?
All right, as people are wandering back to their seats, I'll talk a little bit, hear me all right? I'll be back and forth to the microphone, but everybody hear me all right?
See, I got about 20 of us.
Somebody has to represent it.
So just a heads up, Cisco's up until 12 o'clock. In the meantime, always focus attention here, because we'll probably be getting Mission Barbecue start to set up in the back at the end of his presentation. At the end of his presentation, I'll come back up. We'll get you guys to start lining up for food. As soon as that happens, I forget we're getting Sarah Jamie will be up here during your lunch break talking about re-roofing and about the Peace Energy program once this goes wrapped up. So we're going to try and keep this going. I thought it was important to get you guys back to work as soon as possible. So sorry about running through lunch, but I think we're going to do an interesting topic as well too. So here's my man, Cisco.
Thank you. All right, so first of all, I'm the founder of the National Farscape Association, and if there's no ordinances out there, you create them. So a lot of people don't realize that sometimes you're trying to get something done, and there's just nothing out there to help you get it done. But how many people are aware that there was no national ordinance or law to inspect fire escapes since till 2012? So you have fire escapes out there that I inspect, and I inspect nationwide. So I inspect from Seattle to San Diego, Chicago to Texas, and from Maine to Florida. And there was nothing in the books. There was laws that said you must maintain your fire escapes, but there was no 5-year periodical requirement for your elevator, your sprinkler. So imagine 50-year-old, 75-year-old, 100-year-old structures in every major city in the U.S. that have not been inspected and or load tested without a mandatory write-up that came from the IFC, and I'll talk about it today, in 2012. And I've been teaching this class for almost 15 years now. So I'll go over it. So this is the bastard child of egress. Out of sight, out of mind. You don't need it, but you need it. And usually when somebody uses an old bad fire escape, there's usually somebody on the ground. The attendants, one of the firemen and your tenants, and then everybody knows about it. So, because the news grabs it, the insurance companies grab it, your tenants get multi-million-dollar lawsuits. I'm an expert witness on a lot of fire escape fatalities and injuries. The last injury that occurred in New York just came out, and it hit the news, and you may have seen it or not. So this girl visiting her friend in New York went up to the roof deck through the fire escape, even though there was a rickety old ladder on the inside hallway to get up there. Both of them would have hurt her anyway, but the fire escape, she went up the fire escape through her friend's 4th floor apartment, went up there, had a few drinks, came back down. The ladder did not come up to the top with goosenecks. It came up about 4 to 6 inches. So when she went back down to her girlfriend's, she had a private entrance way to the roof deck, she fell. She hit into the fire escape first, and she fell again further down onto a roof line below. So this is 4 stories up, and she landed on the 2nd floor. Is a paraplegic, and she sued the owner. Did she get $5 million? Did she get $15 million? Did she get $30 million? Did she get $39 million? So she got $39 million, but because she had 2 beers, they cut $10 million off. So it went down to $29 million. And the insurance said, and this is all, it's all in the news, the insurance says, we're not going to pay it. We'll let the owner pay it, because the owner didn't have a certified fire escape. So for all of you who manage buildings here, the first thing you want to do is you want to send out a letter that states to everyone in your portfolio, say, hi, we've just been made aware that there's a national law, whether it's local or not, that says all fire escapes must be examined as per the IFC 2012-1104. It's all in your documentation in front of you. So please give me a copy of the most recent fire escape inspection and load test. If not, please notify my office so I can order one for you immediately so you can be in compliance. You just basically wiped yourself of the next liability. Because if I own a building and you're managing it, and you're taking my money, and this happens, I will sue backwards as far as I can go. Because I pay people to watch this for me. So there's a law since 2012. It's national. If your state has adopted the 2015, it's in the 2015 IFC. Every structure in the U.S. now must be examined every 5 years and load tested. If it has an exterior steel or wooden egress, balconies, bridges. Will that cover some porches where people use it as a second means of egress? So, this is what the reason is for fire escapes. They're like a parachute in a plane. How many of you have tested the parachute in the airplane? How many of you have tested the life vest underneath? They don't let you, right? So how do you know it works? Who's testing these things? Fire escapes are the same way. The only time you really use them is when it's for egress, but it's also for firemen ingress. It's also for their, when all hell breaks loose, for them to egress back out. Now, any firemen in here? Any building departments in here? Right? Let me tell you what the fire departments teach all the new recruits that are coming in to fight these fires. They teach these guys, in case of fire, don't use the fire escape. And why is that? Because none of them have ever been certified. Firemen are dying on these fire escapes trying to save people. So, what kills people? A fire or the smoke? So while they wait for the fire truck to show up, the ladders to show up, and they can see the mom and the baby at the window, what they've been instructed every day. Even their fire towers that have fire escapes on it, I inspect those. How many think of those pass? I shut down fire towers a lot because the fire escapes on the fire towers are not even inspected and repaired. So this is a crazy, crazy, crazy situation. So about, how many people here remember the Station 9 fire that killed a bunch of people up in Rhode Island? So that started this whole thing going about, let's get these fire escapes under control. So let me tell you a little bit about this picture. It's on some of your booklets, so right on the page. So let me tell you how strong fire escapes are. Now usually this is a 6-hour continuing ed class. I've taught it in the state of New Jersey. Believe it or not, I'm from Boston. The state of New Jersey really took off with it, believe it or not. You know why the state of New Jersey has some of the best laws in the country? Because they have some of the worst catastrophes in the country. You want to know what goes on rides and amusement parks? Yeah. They have the worst fires, the worst of everything, and then they created laws, usually after the fact. So they did the best. You know my next best state that I've worked with? Portland, Oregon. All right, so it's not a catchy tune. People say, hey, let's talk about fire escapes. Nope. It means thousands of dollars that people don't want to spend, and they never use it. It's like, hey, let's spend thousands of dollars on my parachute, which I'm never going to use on my beautiful planes. But let's make everybody feel comfortable. How old do you think this picture is? 50s, 60s? Oh, by the hats? That guy's hat right there. But you see that 5x5 square? A load test is 100 pounds per square foot. 5x5 equals 25. 25 times 100 is 2,500. When we build these fire escapes with a 2x2 or 3x3 angle, it's made to hold 2,500 pounds of people, sandbags, and that's just the limit. You can go above and beyond that. So let's do some quick calculation. Typical firemen, they weigh 200 pounds with 100 pounds of gear. If I take 5 firemen fully dressed up, can I get them in a 5x5 square? So take those 5 firemen times 300 pounds, 1,500 pounds. How many pounds I have left over for those guys? Another 1,000, right? Easy. Let's take the 150-pound typical tenant in the building. I'm going to get 10 of those people together, and I'm going to try to squeeze 10 tenants in a 5x5. Can I do it? All right, and I still have 1,000 pounds to go. So fire escapes since the 1900s, when they first came out, they've always been 100 pounds per square foot. What's that mean? You have to be 2 foot square, over 10 feet tall, and you have to be almost 700 pounds for you to put those 2 foot square people in on a fire escape, and it'll still hold. So when a fire escape injury occurs, it's not because the fire escape couldn't hold it. It's not because people are having a party on it that has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the fact that the maintenance on the fire escape, some connection holding the fire escape broke, and that's what collapsed. The connection on the fire escape itself, or the connection of the fire escape to the building. That's what gave way, that's it. So, until we start growing 2 foot square, 10 foot tall, 700-pound people, you know, some of us are getting there. So, just remember, that's how over robust these things are. But if you ignore these for 50, 75, 100 years, how many firemen can you put on it? Not even one. Got it? So that's what happened in Philadelphia. It was a fatality 5 years ago, expert witness case. And all of a sudden, are you aware that in Philadelphia, that when an ordinance went out that said, every fire escape in Philadelphia now must be examined by July 1, 2017. Anybody have buildings or have been to Philly? There you go. How many of you met the requirement of every single structure, wood or steel, in Philadelphia must be examined? So that was their knee-jerk reaction that came 5 years later after a collapse and a lawsuit and all this other stuff. Every building, 20, 30,000 fire escapes need to be examined. Oh, and they made it even worse by saying, oh, the fire escape says, the code says, design professional, others acceptable. So that means structural engineers, registered architects, people in the industry of fire escape inspectors, which was what I am. Okay? And they said, nope, only these people called structural engineers can go look at this fire escape. Most structural engineers are what we call them brain surgeons. Fire escapes is foot fungus. And they're getting this call. The best call we got was the archdiocese had called their structural engineer, and they called us and said, brain, foot fungus, can you help us? Because we got 2,000 to inspect. So that's what happens. If you don't, usually your city will kick into panic mode when there's a dead fireman, a dead person, a dead baby on the ground next to a fire escape, and everybody's going to say, well, what haven't you done about it? Right? So normally this is a 6-hour class, 1 hour. So I'm gonna machine gun you right now with a bunch of slides, and then what I'm going to do is get back to the booklet I gave you. I'm going to tell you where all the information is in all the classes. I've been doing this class. I've taught this class from Seattle to San Diego. Usually doing it. Very few people are proactive. There's always some injury that occurs. Chicago to Texas, and from Maine to Florida, I've taught this class. Some of you will leave here and get on it, and some of you will just leave here and keep some additional information. So what states are going to pop? What cities are going to pop? A lot of times, don't wait for this to come from the top down. It's usually going to come from the bottom up. Individual cities, enacting local ordinance, or just starting to look at fire escapes. Just to give you an example, the worst fire escapes in the nation are in Philadelphia. How close are we to Philadelphia?
Hour and a half.
There you go. So, how many fire? It's August. How many calls did I get from Baltimore this year?
0.
Got it? Just to give you an example of where things are at, right? So, in your book, let's start opening up your book. Let me show you what you have in there. Let's start machine gunning through these things. Certain states demand that you put a tag on your fire escape. All fire protection equipment must have a tag. You know, fire escapes in the U.S. do not have tags on them. So if you were to walk by, you don't know when it was last inspected, you don't know anything. But right now, Seattle wants tags and has mandated it. Portland, Oregon wants tags. Certain states in Massachusetts wants tags. LA wants tags. Who else is doing tags? Philadelphia wants tags. Cincinnati wants tags. And they want to know, is it certified by other evidence of strength or load test, or is it on the repair, or is it a life-saving concern? Okay? You have departmental procedures and guidelines. What's that mean? That's man version of what the law and code says. Can you give me a man version of it? So that's what departmental procedures and guidelines are. Okay, I have on my laptop, and I'll show you at the end, where you go to get this information. So if you don't want to do what we do at the National Fire Escape Association, just go to, this is Portland. You go to Fire Escape Issues Portland, Oregon. So if you want to write that down, it's all written on there. Then you go right to their website, and all of a sudden I helped put this together. This took 10 years to get to this website. In various times and revisions and stuff. So Portland, so type in Fire Escape Issues Portland, Oregon. This will pop up. They'll tell you how to inspect it, how to repair it. And again, my job is to tell you where the best ones are, and sometimes this one's 75% good, this one's 85% good, and I like something here, but I don't like it here, and so I'll help you merge it. Otherwise, copy any one of these, and it's better than nothing. Confidence test, you have one in front of you. This is the only confidence test in the nation. Every confidence test that's out there by LA, Seattle, Portland, they copied these 25 questions that I helped them write. So if you go to the websites, which I'm going to show you, you can actually get a blank of this. And this is 25 specific questions on the fire escape and all its components that any engineer can use. Now, if an engineer is like, I'm not going to fill out this document, I don't like the fact that somebody else made it, great. You can hand this to any architect, any engineer, and say, listen, the 25 questions, put them on your letterhead and answer them. So this is nothing but a guide that you can use, or a guide that you can just steal the questions from. The second page, all the way up to the uniform question. This is 25. So if you're inspecting your fire escape and it's got some weird oddity to it, question number 25 is where you put it in. You know, this thing had a pigeon coop underneath it. Okay? This right here is all the codes. We're going to go over the IFC, the IPC, the NFPA, and we're going to talk about OSHA. Sorry that I'm going to machine it, but it's only 1 hour. This is what the different cities will have as what they want to do. And by the way, this is also part of the confidence test, a vendor sheet. So not only do you have to qualify the engineer who's looking at this fire escape, you have to qualify the vendor. Otherwise, this is how you get rid of the witch doctors, the welding witch doctors. Because a lot of times, people are looking at a 5-story fire escape that will be fixed by a welding witch doctor for $5,000, fully refurbished and properly repaired for $25,000. The owner has a document in his hand that says I'm in violation, and my building inspector only told me to scrape and paint it. Who gets and has been getting for 50 to 75 years all these jobs in your city? We call them the welding witch doctors. Do they remove the rust? No. Do they drop little bars of round in between where the rust is so they can bridge weld? You know, weld this to the tread and then weld it to the thing and leave the rust in the connection? Yes. Do they weld the nose? Do they burn buildings down? Yes. Do they kill firemen during these fires? Yes. All right, here's the codes. It's in the sheets, and we'll go into a lot more detail. The International Fire Code is, since 2012, every structure in the U.S., so if you do multiple states, every state requires that you load test your fire escape as an international fire code. Now, if your state hasn't adopted the fire code, the 2012 or the 2015, but if they have, this is already. So even if there's no ordinance in your city, the International Fire Code mandates that every structure with an exterior steel or wooden stair, balcony, bridges must be examined and load tested. The International Building Code states the same thing. All fire escapes must be, for testing and certification, is pretty much the mirror image of the International Fire Code. You go into the International Fire Code for 2012, and then you look on the fire escape examination, it says see the fire code. So they took it out of the International Fire Code, out of the Building Code, put it back into the fire code. NFPA, the authority having jurisdiction shall be permitted to approve any existing fire escape that has been shown by load test or other evidence of strength. We're going to get into that. What is other evidence of strength? So even the NFPA, which sometimes sneaks in on a building, that they say, well, what's the NFPA say about that? Okay? Let's go into the OSHA. Not many people know about this. This is 1910.37. During repairs, alterations, whether it's a dead building or an employee-filled building and you're doing different floors, it says you must maintain 2 means of egress at all times during alterations and repairs. What's that mean? You fix the fire escape last or first? Should be first in order for you to meet the OSHA guidelines. And that's for anybody walking in that building, including building inspectors and engineers. So if all of a sudden you get there and the fire escape is a train wreck, it's a $100,000 train wreck that nobody knew, what's it say right here? It says until alternative fire protection is furnished, that is equivalent. So what's that? Scaffolding. So you get a train wreck of a fire escape, you order some scaffolding, $2,000 a month, you're good to go, you keep on rolling. Except the scaffolding is not construction scaffolding, that scaffolding is full egress scaffolding, 3 feet wide, 7-11, rails, protection, for both the contractors now and the employees. And who confirms that it's equivalent? The building department and the fire department show up that day and say, you've mothballed my fire escape, you have construction scaffolding here, keep it going. Because you stop the money train, guess what happens? Then the mayor's going to inspect that building, and then what happens? Right, let's keep this thing going because it's an election year, right? Now, Station 9 fire. So this is going to tell you how long ago I've been teaching this class. One of these pit bull reporters, investigative reporters, said, hey, with Station 9 fire, 100 people died. I'd like to do a fire escape on a store on fire escape, about a minute, just say, hey, in case of fire, learn to use your fire escape. I told her 75% plus of everything I examined fails. Of that, 50% has life safety and imminent dangers. She goes, no way, we have laws, we have rules. I said, no, we don't. They're there, but nobody's adhering. Look at the back of your book. That happened in Boston. That's the very famous photo, won a Pulitzer Prize. And why did that win a prize? Because a fireman, he saved his life by hanging onto the ladder. The woman died, her niece landed on her, but look at all that fire escape falling behind her. There and then, in '73, they said, we have an IBC code, but it didn't have the 5-year rule in it. So they applied the 5-year rule and said, you know what? We just can't have this here where the owner controls when he inspects. We need to have a 5-year rule. Just like elevators, sprinklers. There's never been a 5-year rule anywhere in the U.S. unless it was pushed in by some sort of fatality. And the IFC finally caught on in 2012. Every building you manage, every building you know about, every structure you walk under has never been examined or load tested. And there's no tag on it. So why do firemen get told don't get on it? If that was your kid, what would you tell them? Don't get on it. Why? Because you have some knowledge? Well, they finally caught on, but we're in 2017. Think there was big changes in 2012, even though it came out? It's still not a norm. Right now, in Baltimore, there's nothing. There's no calls, there's no inspections. I'm not aware, we believe that we get some calls from all around the area. We'll get calls from DC, we'll get calls from Philly, but we never get a call from Baltimore. Let's watch your story.
The smoke, the flames, and the frightened faces, all in a firefighter's line of duty. But Chief William Hitchcock remembers the night it wasn't the fire that almost stopped him, but the fire escape that broke underneath him.
Just get away from the building.
And our investigation found across Massachusetts more unsafe fire escapes, rusty, deteriorating, crumbling, broken. And what state officials didn't know, the system they set up to keep fire escapes safe is also falling apart.
The potential ramifications are disastrous.
So let's look at this one. This expert ironworker is licensed to build, maintain, and inspect fire escapes. So that over here, for months, we examined dozens of them with alarming results.
Looking at this today, would this pass inspection?
No.
In dormitories, at theaters, at homes, and apartment buildings.
Rust is actually eating away the metal of the fire escape.
Right.
And the bottom line?
It'll get weak and then eventually it'll fall.
This one has rotted connections. This one missing bolts, twisted metal.
Would the stairs come down?
No, never come down.
This one, a broken tread.
So how dangerous is it for the people inside this building?
This fire escape is definitely going to put somebody either in the hospital or it's going to put somebody in the cemetery.
Fire escapes are so critical. The state building code requires they be certified for structural adequacy and safety every 5 years. But our investigation found that safeguard is simply being ignored. Here's proof. We chose fire escapes at random in Boston, Somerville, Cambridge, Worcester, and here in Quincy. We checked building department files
But there's no fire escape certification.
to see if building owners had submitted their mandatory inspection reports.
There's no certification in this way.
Bottom line, not one we checked in Quincy had been certified as safe. And the Director of Inspectional Services admitted because of staffing shortages, the city has no idea how many other fire escape owners are breaking the rules.
And as a result, do you know how many fire escapes in your city are safe or not?
Well, I don't know.
In Worcester, not one we checked was certified. In Somerville,
No.
certification. And again, no system for keeping track. How can they get away with it?
I guess the shortest answer of all is because we don't have the resources to sit here and follow up on these things.
If structural deficiencies are reported, local building inspectors can actually evacuate residents until repairs are made.
Would you talk to us on camera about this? No?
But when we surveyed 24 more communities, most admitted they had no idea how many fire escapes were certified. In Taunton, inspectors told us they haven't seen a certification in 25 years. Northampton officials said, it's a cold day in hell when that happens. In Cambridge, too, not one of our test buildings was certified, and the official in charge would not come out to discuss it. In Boston, there are more than 8,000 fire escapes. Again, according to inspectional services, not one leach is certified. Officials know they are required to enforce the building code, but they admit they don't always know if owners are breaking the law.
The building code is being ignored.
Right, but it's difficult to write a violation you don't have knowledge of something like that.
But state officials say for a critical issue like this, communities should know, and they warn the Massachusetts building code is not optional.
Does it worry you that these fire escapes are not being certified?
This is an important issue and should not be ignored.
That's because after the smoke and flames begin, it'll be too late to learn you've got no way out.
I can't stress it enough, Hank, that these things have to be maintained and someone's got to be watching.
As a result of our investigation, state officials will now issue an alert to local inspectors. Meanwhile, if there's a fire escape on your home or office, you can contact your local building department to make sure it's properly certified. In the newsroom, I'm Hank Ryan.
So after this, and I started teaching class, I found the National Farscape Association. So has Boston called me in to teach a class in Boston? No. Has the Boston Fire Department called me in to teach a class? Has the state of Massachusetts brought me in to teach a class? Has the associations of all the building inspectors, and there's 4 in the state, have they called me in to do classes? And recorded, we're getting recorded, we put them up online for free. They're on there. I'll show you where you can go take a look. Even this class will be up in about 10 days. The next thing that comes from this is it's usually on a city level. So certain cities in Massachusetts have become model cities, but they're not the major metropolitan cities. So it's weird where it's going to pop. It all depends on who's in charge, who wants to keep an eye on it. And you don't have to go find money. We're going to tell you how to just make this a checklist item. We'll talk about that at the end. If you make this a checklist item, you don't look for fire escapes, they find you. Because you pair them up with sprinkler systems. You pair them up with smoke detectors. You pair them up with re-rents. You pair them up with any kind of a re-inspection where people have left and people are coming back in, or people are about to go in, and you just pair it up as one of the requirements because it's required by law that you have 2 means of egress. So it's we don't call it a fire escape initiative, we call it a safe structures initiative. So write that down. It's called a Safe Structures Initiative, and all we need to do to make sure that you're legal from day one is you need 2 means of egress in every structure in the U.S. to either buy it, sell it, or rent it. So it's called the Safe Structures Initiative. From there, it can grow into many things, and that is, do we have 2 means of egress for these people to get in and out? Got it? So now, the welding witch doctors. Who do they kill? Who do they hurt? They kill and hurt everybody. Now, this just happened 2 years ago in the city of Boston, which I did, she did this thing. It must have cured itself. Look, watch this.
They're contributing to the Back Bay fire. They saved the lives of 2 firefighters. One was working next door. The man had been working on building fire escape when they sparked the deadly fire. Fox Undercover revealed Wednesday that fire escape hadn't been inspected in 10 years, even though inspections are required every 5 years. Investigative reporter Mike Bodette bringing up some new exclusive information tonight. Mike?
We looked at the entire Beacon Street block where the fatal fire happened and discovered, just like 296 Beacon Street, most of the fire escapes there are overdue for inspections. It turns out the city doesn't have any mechanism in place to track building owners violating the rules and hold them accountable. Mayor Walsh is not happy.
Are you concerned that inspection wasn't done since 2004?
Of course I am, and it's something that, constantly every day it seems like something was coming up around inspection services, and we are looking at revamping a lot of the procedures in there.
Boston Mayor Marty Walsh talking about 296 Beacon Street, a place where welders may have been working on the fire escape. They sparked the inferno at 298 Beacon Street, a fire that killed Boston Fire Lieutenant Ed Walsh and firefighter Michael Kennedy. Records reveal that fire escape had not been inspected since 2004, even though state building code requires inspections every 5 years. So the fire escape should have been inspected in 2009 and then again this year, which raises a troubling question according to fire code expert Amy Cronin, president of Strategic.
So let's go back and what happened. Look at the history. There's nobody dying, there's nobody doing anything. You remember this in '73, then you fast forward to 2014, right? And what do we have? So unless there's a mechanism in there and it's an automatic, people will not self-regulate. If you start letting everybody self-regulate when they do a sprinkler test, when they do an elevator test, when they do facade tests, what do we start getting? Where's the money spent? They'll spend $50,000 on a foyer, marble, but they won't spend $5 grand on a fire escape. Because the $50,000 in the foyer will get you better rent. What will the fire escape get you? Right? So this is why if you don't have a trigger, so this occurs and this is what we're facing, right? So now let's see what we have to do here in order to move things along. So in some cases you're left up to your own devices to basically get your building. So when I told you write a letter to all the buildings you own, whether you believe that person has one or not, you just make a general statement. Hey, I've been made aware that there's a requirement in the U.S. that any building in the U.S., and if you have a building in the U.S. that we manage or don't manage, be aware that a fire escape must be inspected every 5 years. So please provide us with the latest inspection that you did. And they call you up and say, what are you talking about? I said, exactly. We'll order one for you right away. But if all of a sudden 3 years later there's a fatality at one of these, guess what you have in your email? What you have in your documents that you sent to that client? That you did ask them for that. They didn't provide you with one. And you can't go there and verify whether they have a fire escape or not, but you sent a general one. So that'll get you some relief from the liability. All right, so this is what we did. We took a fire escape from a school that went from kindergarten to 8th grade. The kids use this fire escape every day, okay, to go from the 2nd floor to the kindergarten yard. And these are all the kiddies that went down this fire escape. So who told me to change this fire escape? Fire department? No. Building department? Insurance company? Principal? Teachers? Kids? Or the janitor? The janitor said, dude, get this thing out of here. It's gonna. And as you know, this thing, anything older than 78 has lead in it. So you see any paint left on this? Well, that was dessert for the kids. They got to chew on a piece of chip, and let a piece of chip and walking in and getting their hands on it. So what we did is I saved this. This is a pain. This is only a one story, but it was so rotten. And I saved it, and I would have brought it here. Usually I bring it as a document phone show. I put it here, and I saved the very top to show you, and I bring the very bottom to show you. But these are the pictures that show you what welding witch doctors do. So this is when welding witch doctors come in. They don't remove rust. They don't even repair it. They Band-Aid it. So you got to be careful of the welding witch doctors. It's a Band-Aid. It's basically joining any good metal to some other good metal and just leave the rust alone wherever it may be. When you restore a fire escape, that's in preparation for a load test or no load test. Because if you fully refurbish a fire escape, guess what gets eliminated? A load test. The NFPA says it best. The authority having jurisdiction shall accept by load test. Now that means it's existing structure, existing bolts, all in good condition, load tested every 5 years. Every 5. Those are $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 load tests. Right? That they should be using for bolts and paint. So should you invest that money into paint and in bolts, it also says at the NFPA, the authority, other evidence of strength. So you change all the bolts on the tread, do I need to load test it? No. I change all the bolts on the structure, do I need to load test it? No. You know the connection into the building, which is to be 12 inches, 18 inches wall? You're going to dig that open for $500 a pop? Or you're going to put in a new Hilti epoxy bolt next to it for $50. So by negating it and keeping it, what have I done? I've eliminated the load test. So if I have new epoxy bolts into your old building, do I need to load test it? No. And the NFPA is very clear. And then all the codes say that, test or certify. So which one you want to do? You want to test it because some original pieces are still there, or you want to load test, you want to give us a certification because you got other evidence of strength. Now, how do you come up with this? You have to put all the 4 codes together because none of them say this until you overlap every single one of them. That's how long we've been working on that statement nationwide. Okay, so just make sure I'm good for time. Still good? So this is all the stuff. This is what welding witch doctors do. They weld underneath. They fill it up. You know, leave the rust there. Collect their $3,000 to $5,000. That's the average. $3,000 to $5,000 in and out. Permits? Fire permits? No. And what do? Paint it as quickly as possible. Then who do you call when it's all tacky and wet? You call the engineers. Say, hey, can you come look at this fire escape? Yeah, it's ready. You go up. We just finished painting it. Can you go up? Then what happens? Those are the good guys who say, no, I'll go up. I'll dirty my shoes. I want to go up. But then you got the stamp, right? The guys who rubber stamp anything, right? And you know what they do? They show up, roll down their window. The first thing they ask for, check, you're coming through the window. They look up and they say what? To the best of my information, knowledge, and belief, the fire escape is in conformity with the existing building codes and ready for its intended use today. What about tomorrow? I'll call me tomorrow. I'll drive by again. That's called the golden parachute, right? So this is what the structure, it used to be 4 feet wide, by the way, and I shrunk it down to 2 feet. So on one side we fixed it correctly, and on the other side we welding witch doctored it. But this is the structure before. This is the structure, right? And we had only 16 days to get it in. It was right between the Christmas break. You guys says, get this out of here. So we had to get it out, and it used to come into the yard. So the kids would run underneath it with all those sharp pieces of angle and stuff that, you know what I'm saying? It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. All right, this is a penitentiary. Looks good when you walk up to it, right? This is just a paint job. You get underneath it, look what you got. Now, here's the other thing you guys have to worry about. A lot of these things are hidden. You start walking up and down these fire escapes, thinking, just take a look. If you don't know what you're doing, it's called a ping pong test. We carry a 3-pound hammer, and we go bing, bing, and as soon as it goes pong, what do? We give it a couple more pongs, and it'll still hold our step and keep going up, or it'll do this. Three-pound hammer.
That's it. Let's stay down here so I don't get hurt. And what I'll do now is I have my red, and I'll highlight it in red to say that this is an emergency life-threatening issue that the owner needs to take care of.
Oh, that one up there. Can you see that one? So this is what we're facing when we're looking, there's other forms. Let's talk about all the forms of load testing. There's called live load testing, which actually use live people. And then it kind of tells you that it can hold or not hold. This happened in this is not the actual picture, but something similar to this happened in Harvard Square. And there's a big parade that happens in Harvard Square of the pot, right? And one of the top railings, which is a nice heavy molding piece, just fell off, came down like a javelin. And below was about 20 people inside, just sitting on the steps, just watching the parade go by. And all these people came out of their dorm rooms and did this. Did it hit anybody? Nope. Did it ricochet and almost hit somebody? Yep. Did it hit anybody? No. But imagine the lawsuit there. This thing came down like a javelin and hit somebody right next to it, and then it breathed and it didn't hit anybody. They thought it was the bullet. But this is all the times that people, so fire escapes can kill anybody. That guy in the corner there is just a representation, but one of our guys, his dad fell 7 stories to his death, doing the exact same thing. So it's not choosy. Fire escapes will chomp on anybody. So kids, firemen, workers. You know, I'm an expert witness in a lot of fatalities. I was the expert witness on the Philadelphia one. I was an expert witness in the New York fatalities. I'm an expert witness now in a fatality, but an injury where a guy was hawked. He's a hawk guy in San Diego. And he was using the fire escape to get down so he didn't have to go through the main lobby with a hawk that chases seagulls away, and the fire escape gave way. Broke both his keels, to his heels. You remember the days when people used to sleep outside? Paramedics use fire escapes every now and then, you know, porters, you know, they get in, they can't get in, so where, guess what, how they get the people out? Through the windows. As you can see, non-smoking buildings, so where are the kids gonna smoke now? Right? A lot of wedding shots, this would be great. Yeah, we lost the entire wedding party at a fire escape fatality. This is a new show that, you know, there's plenty of reality shows. We're gonna call this fire escaping. And what this is, it's basically like a telenovela. Basically, everybody's cheating on everybody. And guess what they use? Fire escape. Right? So what happens is there's always some drama, and that is somebody died or gets crippled, and then he doesn't want her anymore. She doesn't want him anymore because he's missing a leg. So this is where we're heading, because we have plenty of places to shoot. All right, let's keep moving.
But right now, firefighters are taking down the ladders and rolling up the hoses. But earlier in the night, when they pulled up, there were flames coming out of the side of the building. Firefighters say it was one of the scarier moments, because when you pull up to a building and you see children and mothers hanging off the side of the fire escape, smoke swirling around them, isn't that scary, scary stuff? They got up there, they got the ladders up, and they said nobody got hurt.
The fire escape, there was 3 or 4 people hanging off the fire escape. They couldn't get up. They were just on the fire escapes. I had people hanging in their fire escapes at the rear of the building, and on this side of the building, we had a bunch of people on that fire escape.
About 50 people were displaced inside this building. Our firefighters say there's good news tonight. It looks like everybody will be allowed to go back in, except the one unit where the fire was in. They said, that's good luck to them tonight. I'm Bob Wilson, on the scene of Bridgeport, News 8.
They called me 6 months later to inspect this fire escape. Anything fixed? Nothing. 2 years later, anything fixed? Nothing. And like he said, good thing. At the end of the day, we put all these rats back inside the building. Why? Because the fire escapes are still bad. And when they showed up, did they fight the fire, or was this a rescue mission?